Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, time to have a visit with Jim George. Jim George is here to answer our questions about our gadgets, our technology, the internet, our cable, our electrical things. If you have a question for Jim, you are welcome to call. Jim is the owner of ACS Group, and his expertise in these kinds of things goes way back until the 1840s, I think. So if you have a question for Jim, the number is 622-9622, and Jim will be happy to answer you. But we may not go in that direction. You never know where we're going to go. Yeah, but you are allowed to go anywhere also. So, again, 622-9622. Hey, Jim.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Sounds like you're really busy.
I am busy. I am way, way too busy for my own good.
So do you think what you've seen out in the world with what is specifically with what you do has become cookie cutter? Like in the old days, did you have to kind of reinvent the wheel every time? And now it's like you pull this out and put that in?
No, not really. It's always the same. It's always a different adventure. Every day is something new with me. You know, either it's electrical or it's cable TV or it's internet or it's phone, or which I like. I know I don't go every day and just do the same thing day in and day out.
So on your end, you have to analyze something in order to fix it. From our end, you say to me, oh, just remove this thing and then put a new one in its place, like a new hard drive, for example. Just remove it, put a new one in, right?
Right. Like my daughter had a problem with her well, and I was able to fix that basically within 5 or 10 minutes, analyze the problem. She also had a problem with her dryer, and I checked the on-off switch. I checked everything. I said, forget it, get another one. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Well, if the well isn't working, why do you even need a dryer?
Well, yeah. That's true. That's true. But this was an occasion, so we got it all. We got them fixed. So there's certain things. We're almost in a throwaway society. You know that,
right? And maybe that's what I was asking. If it is for us as consumers, but is it for you as a technical guy?
Well, test equipment keeps getting more expensive, but getting better. So test equipment wise, it's always better. Mm-hmm. But parts just go bad for no reason. I mean, we bought a $21,000 server. I think I mentioned this last week, and I had to send it back to the factory. It worked for like 1 year, and it's got a 3-year warranty. Another one came in brand new, dead, and that was like a $20,000 server. Oh man! And the manufacturer says that they didn't want to pay freight to send it back. I said, you were going to pay freight to send it back.
How big is it?
Oh, it's huge.
Like
I would
1,000
say,
pounds?
No, the server is probably 80 pounds, but it's 2 inches high, 19 inches wide, and about 60 inches long, probably 5 feet long. Real long thing. Anyway, we're getting it all done, but people make shortcuts, and when they make shortcuts, things don't work. Factories just push them out.
So what happens when the server went down? Did you have like a backup, or how did you handle that?
We did. Praise the Lord, we had a backup, because when it goes down, they go down, and you lose everything. Wow. And I'm glad it went down before we have 1,000 customers on it.
Oh my!
We only had a couple of test customers on it when it went down, and we were able to reboot it within hours and get it right back up. So people were only down for a short time. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to make it so that we have redundancy. Now, we don't have full redundancy. In other words, if we have 7 $20,000 servers, we don't have 7 spares. We have 1 spare, but they're hot swappable spares. They'll catch up on their own. If one dies, the other one will come right up and take its place. Oh. And that's what basically happened, except it wasn't in place when the first one died. So we scrambled for 2 hours to get it in place. Now, when the other ones get repaired, they will be in place. And it was in the rack, wired in, ready to go.
And when you do all that wiring, do you have those special connections, or do you have wires that wrap around things that are on the outside?
No, they're special connectors. Everything is special in our area of expertise, whether it be the end connector itself or the type of wire used, or it's always something special. It's never off the shelf where you could go to Best Buy and buy something, or Walmart and buy something.
And you have a phone call.
All right.
Put your headphones on.
Yeah.
Good morning. You're on the air with Jim George.
Yes, good morning, Mr. George. See, my mother-in-law called me up last night. She's got trouble with her TV, and you were talking about living in a throwaway society. She says, should I have a TV serviceman come? I don't think there are TV servicemen anymore that come to the house, or even repair shops. And I said the price of the size screen that she likes, and the prices on TV now, I could go to Walmart or wherever and just buy yourself another TV. The one she's got is about 5 years old, and I know back in the old days, a TV lasts 20 years, but not anymore. So I just throw the TV away and buy a new one.
That's correct. Yeah, there's the parts cost more than the whole. So let's assume it was just a video board. You had audio, but you just couldn't see the screen. That little video card probably costs $200, and then they have a gentleman drive out, find that card, take it out, put a new card in, and get it all working. Probably it cost you another $125. So now you're into $350 plus with tax. You can buy a brand new set cheaper.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we're in a throwaway society. Parts cost more than the whole.
I don't believe you could find anybody that comes to the house,
There's a few there. I know of one. I could give him a free boost, but he's really good. That's Bob's TV down just south of Bellevue.
They've been around a while, right?
But and they actually fix TVs. They're like the only one left that I know of in our area.
When I go shopping, I walk through Walmart. I have to go to the television department. That guy, you can buy a nice TV set for a couple $100.
Yeah, depending upon the size, a lot of hotels will buy consumer TVs instead of buying hotel models because they're so much cheaper. But you can get a 42-inch, let's say, for $200, maybe a little less.
The person that when she gets up in the morning, totally, she puts the TV on and it's done until she goes to bed at night, whether she's at home or in the same room or what. Her TV's only lasts maybe 3-4 years at the most.
Well, they're very. The word I'm looking for escapes me right now, but if you keep them plugged in 24/7, electrical surges will definitely harm them. So, like you and I talked, you have to have surge protectors.
You're right.
And a surge happens any number of ways. For instance, if you had a refrigerator cut on the same time you turned on your dryer, and maybe even the same time the well pump kicked on, that initial, momentary flow of current will knock something out because it's just too much flowing in that incidental.
If you have a whole house surge protector, you still believe in putting a surge protector in a plug, like for the refrigerator and other stuff besides the big one?
I do, because the whole house is a fairly fast reaction time, but the ones behind the TV, the ones behind the refrigerator, they're very fast reaction time. So they'll catch the momentary stuff that the whole house won't worry about because it wasn't deep enough, it wasn't severe enough. It was just they're trying to keep the current steady in your home, while that device behind your fridge or behind your TV is monitoring. You don't think about it, but it's monitoring 24/7 everything that goes on with that power.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a nice weekend.
Yep.
How do you, when I'm like at an RV park or something with my brother, he doesn't have a dish antenna or anything by his RV, but I've seen people with those dish antennas by their RVs. Is there a certain way to hook them up, or how do they actually work when you're mobile like that?
Well, most RVers know exactly how to do it. Some RVers have an automatic device that the antenna will turn itself to find the satellite. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is put it in the ground, aim it in the general direction, let's say south-southwest, normally around 245 degrees, and push a button and it will find itself. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the TV set becomes your monitor, and the satellite receiver has a field strength meter built into it. So it might say 0, and as you turn it says 10, 20, 30, and that means, and now it goes back to 20. In other words, you went through it. Now you raise it up, and between the up and down and left and right, we call that azimuth and elevation, the signal comes right in.
Oh,
just that quick.
Okay, that's amazing.
The smaller the dish, the more of the sky it looks at. The bigger the dish, the less of the sky it looks at. So
Really?
the small dishes can pick up the satellites really quick.
You'd think that would be the opposite.
But you would not.
Wow.
You would think so.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So the big dishes, the 5-meter dishes, the 17, 18, 20-foot dishes,
Yeah.
they have a very precise focus. The small dishes, they're just big, they're broadband. They're just out there picking up everything they can. But that meter that's built into the satellite receiver will, it won't tell you go left and right. There may be a new receiver that does that, but it does. But just by you going up and down and left and right, you will hit the satellite. Just that quick. I would say under 5 minutes.
So I have a question for you. Have you seen this petition to get WCJB TV20 on the dish? On Dish? Have you seen that?
I have not.
They want us as viewers to petition the FCC so that their signal can be in Marion County on a dish.
Well, so here's what happened. So DirecTV and Dish Network have hit all the big networks, ABC, NBC, CBS. And so if you're in Ocala, let's say, you can get Orlando's NBC, or in this case, ABC. And but Channel 20, which is also ABC out of Gainesville, is not on the dish because they figure if you have the Orlando ABC, you don't necessarily need the Gainesville ABC. So what Gainesville is saying is, well, we have the national programming, whatever it might be, Jeopardy or whatever, but we also have the local. We have this, we have that, which the one in Orlando doesn't. So they want to petition that DirecTV and Dish will carry them.
Okay,
but it's a lot of money.
So it says, please support, this is from the WCJB site, please support our petition to be carried on satellite providers in Marion and Columbia counties to make your voice heard. Here are some easy steps, and it gives you email addresses and toll-free numbers, etc., to the FCC. So I guess the question I had is, why do they even need the FCC? I mean, could they already have a license? Couldn't they just send it up to...
Well, the cable company, in this case Direct or Dish, would have to carry them just because it's being transmitted either by internet, through the air by a normal antenna,
right,
or any other methodology. It does cost DirecTV and Dish to carry them. Remember, they have to receive it in one format, transmit it to their satellite in a separate format, send it down to Denver, Colorado to be processed, send it back up to their dish so that you can receive it.
Wow.
So all that takes money and time and effort. So, you know, they have no reason to carry TV20. Now,
are you considered a satellite provider?
I am.
So you couldn't carry Channel 20 right now?
I carry 20, but I don't carry it on the satellite. I carry it on my cable system. I pick it up with an off-the-air antenna.
Oh, okay. So what if the FCC says, "All right, enough already. We got enough letters." What would change?
They could not make, I don't think, Direct or Dish carry them. I'd have to look into that. Unless the FCC ruled that there's enough interest in that certain channel in that area that is not well covered by Orlando. In other words, right now, I cannot legally, let's say, carry a Jacksonville ABC because it's out of my market. They call it direct market area.
Right.
But the Orlando is in my market.
But why can Roku do that? Because Robin has Roku, and Roku?
Yeah.
Well, that's being streamed. That's not on the satellite.
Oh my gosh! So it's all different things.
Yeah, the way in which it's received is being streamed. So that's how I carry Jacksonville, is I have it streamed.
Okay.
But there again, when it's streamed, I pick it up in one format. I have to process it, which is what we call encoding and decoding. So, and then actually, in some cases, transcoding, because I have to put it from one methodology to a different methodology so that I can put it over my cable system.
So this is probably a question I should know the answer to already, but do we have Channel 51 anymore, or is that gone?
We do not have 51 in the sense that it's broadcasting, but We do pick up 51 and 35 both in our system.
But 51 used to be right next to the interstate here in Ocala.
Yep. The building's still there. There's not much going on there. The big satellite dish is gone. A lot of things are gone. But it's still Fox 51, Fox 35, but all the broadcasting comes out of 35.
I actually went there one time, and this was back when they were still, I guess, I don't know, I've never worked in TV, but I was in there watching somebody putting tapes, like cartridges, like old VHS, or bigger than that, but some kind of cartridges into these machines.
Right.
Similar to what we used to do with cartridges on radio.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so, but I'm guessing it's all digital now, huh?
You know, you almost wish that 35 would just sell their building and transmitters to a local company that could do local TV. It would be nice to have a local presence for TV.
But that's what you're doing.
But see,
with your
20
cable system.
has an office, let's say, right down on the square. But they're really out of Gainesville.
Yeah,
All
right.
6 is the same way. Channel 6 has an office here, but they're really out of Orlando.
They do? Oh, I
So
didn't
there's
know
not much that takes place that's not covered. But there's hundreds of stuff that are not covered. I mean, take the Marion County 175th that you've been talking about. There's a scavenger hunt. This Saturday for the children, next Saturday for the adults and children. Yeah. There's so much. Well, they're not going to tell you about that because that reaches the Orlando area.
Yeah.
Orlando could care less about
That's
Ocala.
true. Yeah.
You know? You really need a local and that's where WOCA, I'll give you, comes in. You guys tell people what's going on.
Yeah. Well,
But they have to listen.
kind of our thing.
You know, and they can, and after noon, let's say, when you have the syndicated, whether it be the Blaze or whatever, unless you break in for a local announcement, it's all syndicated.
Yeah, right.
So,
Well, and to reach farther, we do have the internet, so
Yes.
we do have that. And Joe's working on something to even do better than that. So
sounds great.
I don't know if he wants us to talk about it yet.
It's probably Howdy Doody TV. It's Howdy
I think you have a role in it, it sounds like. Something to do with multiple cameras in the studio.
Oh, boy.
All right, because I think we're already wired for that, right?
Yeah, you're all set up for the for internet TV. We just been. I mean, I've never been so busy in my.
Do you just
entire
need a
life.
prettier couple of hosts? You just need, is it us?
It'd
Is
be
that
you.
what-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of old.
As long as you don't shave,
You
we're
just
okay.
need-
I'd have to get you an ascot now, I think.
I got my ass cut one time and I couldn't get out. So
So that's what would happen to your cable system, though. You're concentrating on local, too, so local
I'm
people will
yeah.
bring their programs.
So basically, out of Orlando, you can get about 60 programs. But when you get channel 2, you get 2.1, 2.2. When you get 6, you get 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. So, but when you add all those up, it's about anywhere between 45 and 60 channels. That's what Ken Antenna was trying to say when he was here. You put up an outside antenna, you can get 40, 50, 60 channels.
everybody, listen to what Jim is saying. If you want to just get a basic TV, yeah, there's a nice antenna.
I'm gonna get one.
And the only reason I know about that is because you guys put one up for Doug. So.
Yeah. So and they work, and you can get all different kind of expenses. You can get a $45 one, a $70 one, a $150 one.
What's the difference?
How strong they are.
Oh, okay, so you want a strong one.
Well, it depends. So if you're heavily wooded and treed all around, yeah, you want to get a nice strong one. But if you're open, like if you were to put it in the middle of the mall parking lot here, you could go 20 feet above the ground. But if you're going to put it on your house, you want to be a minimum of 10 feet above your highest point. And so sometimes that's 30 or 40 feet high, depending upon the apex, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
All right, you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim.
How you doing? I'm at work, so I'm in and out, and I didn't get to catch everything. But how do I find out? Is there somebody I can contact to find out more about the cable he's offering?
Well, we're not ready for prime time yet. We're very close. I keep telling my engineers, will you quit designing and start building?
Okay.
So we have everything ready to go. We have our encoders, transcoders, you name it. We have it all. It's all working, but we have a couple of problems with the electronic programming guide, with the Go Back TV, where you can go back. We're recording every single channel 24 hours, so you can go back and record. But it's just glitches. Every time you turn around, this freezes, that freezes, and I don't want to offer it until it's perfect, which they tell me it'll be perfect by June, but you told me that last June. So.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Wow, that's got to be frustrating.
Well, it's
for
very
you.
expensive too. You know, you pay
Yeah.
for manpower, you pay for servers, you pay, and it's always one little more thing you need. Like if you just had this part, okay, well then get it. Well, if you just had this service, okay, we'll get it. You know,
Right.
whatever they tell me I need, I'm getting. So it's not a question of holding back. It's a question of a lot of times certain piece of equipment is made to talk to other equipment, but it won't. And then you get to the manufacturer, he says, oh, you wanted it to talk to that. Well, we have to write a program for it to do that. Well, you say in your brochure that it does this and that. Yeah, it does, but we have to write a program for it. So we'll get back with you in 60 days.
60 days.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a lot then.
You got to pull your hair out.
So,
with
yeah,
that.
so you're sitting there with a $20,000 part that won't talk to anything.
Oh,
You need it to talk to other items so they'll communicate well and give you the information you need. And of course, the more you delay, people get frustrated. You know, they say, "Well, it's been years now. You don't have it ready yet. I'm going someplace else." And we understand that.
Yeah.
We understand that. That's why you almost hate to even mention you have something that you remember Dr. Strangelove with the Doomsday Machine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, Peter Sellers.
Yeah.
And so what it was is if a bomb got dropped, let's say in Russia or China, it would trigger automatically all this other stuff. And they said, well, why didn't you tell somebody you had that? We would have never launched the bomb if we knew you had this automatic thing,
I
which
know,
they
that's
couldn't
great.
change. They couldn't override it. They couldn't do anything. So it's. If you have, it's you almost want to wait until it's ready to launch and not preempt.
I think what people are looking at sometimes from a political perspective is confusing, because when you hear about the government stepping in to prevent mergers, especially in the telecommunications world, right? You say, well, why is the government messing with this? But then as a consumer, it sometimes makes more sense to not allow a monopoly, right? Because wouldn't it be better off for all of us if there was competition?
Well, you know that AT&T bought DirecTV. So
that kind of thing.
So now you not only had the largest internet provider in the world
right.
buying the largest satellite provider, but then the FCC just allowed AT&T to buy Time Warner. So now you have the second largest cable system. So AT&T is the largest internet provider, largest satellite provider, and the largest cable TV provider. Why don't they break that up? The FCC should break that up, not allow it to become a conglomerate. Remember, they broke up the Ma Bell, AT&T Ma Bell thing,
right?
Where they broke it up into Southern Bell and Boston Bell, and
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why when we're kind of split on the thoughts about it. If the government is going to interfere, well, we don't want government interfering, but at the same time, it's better for us. And what is your thought on that? I mean,
well, yeah. So it's not a level playing field. So AT&T might buy HBO programming for $3 and sell it to you for, let's say, $15. All right, but it costs me $8 just to buy it. So
right.
I can't compete.
You can't compete, yeah.
So the FCC talks about a level playing field, everybody buying programming for the same price and such. But think about HBO. They only have to deal with one customer, AT&T, and they get it all across Time Warner. They get it all across the internet. They get it all across the satellite.
Yeah.
And they only deal with one voice. But if there's 1,000 of me little guys out there, they have this. So of course they charge more.
Yeah.
So it's just not fair. But whoever said life was fair? It's not fair.
Yeah, but as
Very
we the people,
profound,
we're
yeah.
supposed to be able to say, hey, we need to do something to make it fair, right?
Yeah, we the people are lackadaisy.
We are lackadaisy. You are right.
That says it all.
All right, Jim. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
What are your plans for the weekend?
I plan to hopefully vacuum my pool and use it.
Oh, nice.
It's
Hey.
full of those pollen things.
Oh, yeah, those are
All the
annoying.
oak trees dropping all that stuff. Oh, my
Sounds good.
goodness.
Sounds
yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you for what
Thank
you did,
you.
Jim. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. A 69-year-old woman has died from injuries sustained when the 3-wheeled motorcycle she was driving was rear-ended yesterday on East State Road 40 in the Ocala National Forest. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis wants a judge to dismiss a lawsuit filed by the sheriff who he suspended and accused of failing to prevent the Parkland school shooting last Valentine's Day. Detectives investigating a 3-decade-old slaying of a Navy recruit used genealogical research involving DNA to track down and arrest a suspect who was a one-time Navy training classmate of the victim. Authorities say a police officer fatally shot a man with a knife at a Jacksonville gas station. A major expansion